What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Respect the Game podcast. My name is Edward, named after a trilogy, that being my pop. Shout out to my mother and my grandmother for helping raising me too. Please make sure you go follow at EMAX Stats for all your up-to-date high school, pro, and collegiate sports coverage. Will not disappoint. We'll keep you up to date on all that's going on in the beautiful sports world. As always, man, what is a podcast without your brethren?
Well, man, Sean Hort is our big brother Iron Man. Sir, tapping in, tuning in. Sean Hort Surgical Picks coming soon. That's Twitter, Instagram, anywhere where you embodying and encompassing dope media. Let's go.
Yo, it is the host with the most, that blows the most smoke, Black Peace, the rap plug, the hip hop plug. You already know. Sure to go check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You know where you get your dope podcast from. That's where you can find it. Yo, let's go.
True, and shout out to our brother Sedacious. Make sure you follow him at I am Sedacious, SEDATAIOUS. He may be on the pod tonight, not sure, but nonetheless, make sure you go follow our boy Sedacious. Man, getting straight to it, like it's not to it, but to do it. Nice rundown for the pod this week. What's There's a lot of things fresh. We'll definitely talk about the Lakers here down the road on the show. But to start us off, we started the podcast during the pandemic, and around the time of the pandemic, superstar NFL Hall of Famer prime time Deion Sanders was named the head coach for Jackson State. That brought tons and tons and tons of attention to the HBCU circuit as a whole. And then it magnified even more the football program of Jackson State University, where Deion Sanders was the head coach there. It was just it was just announced this week that he has left Jackson State to take a head coaching job at a Power Five conference at Colorado University. Some people are happy for Deion. Obviously, in the world of social media, you tend to not really see the flowers of somebody. You tend to not see people getting their flowers. You tend to not always see people getting their just due, their praise. And I said all that to say that obviously with Deion leaving, there came a lot of hoopla, a lot of people in an uproar, a lot of people upset. Whether in the HBCU community or not, feeling as if though they've been portrayed. All in all, just hating to see Deion Sanders leave and go to a PWI, leaving the HBCU, historically black college or university, and going to a predominantly white institution to coach football. Uh, I'll let you kick it off first, Darnell. I seen you clapping, so it doesn't seem like you're on the side of somebody being mad that Deion Sanders is leaving. But first, why do you think people are mad at Deion?
It's the typical sellout uh, notation, man. And I feel like it's something that I feel like the black community needs to let go. You know, when we see our people elevating and moving to better neighborhoods, getting better jobs, working in better communities and workplaces and whatnot, we have to accept that and look at that as a win rather than a loss. You know what I'm saying? We have to take that as a group win instead of just feeling like, okay, this person has changed on us, or they feel like they're not, they're better than us. It just like you said, it's elevation over termination. So that's how I totally agree with it, man.
What you got on it? This question to you is Deion wrong for leaving?
Absolutely not, right? I don't want to say it's the crab in the bucket mentality, but Monty Jones got on CNN and did a nice little I'm a beret the next great black man card, and he played it perfectly. Was able to speak eloquently while getting across the point that, and he made it an instance to harken on the fact that God, Deion Sanders claimed that God told him to come to Jackson State. Did he tell you to leave after 3 years after somebody else offered you 15 times your salary? And it's like, I mean, damn, when you put it like that, you know what I mean? Like, I think he did change. HBCU football in the 3 years that he was at Jackson State, man. He didn't say he had to be the pillar of HBCUs as we know it and be there 20 plus years. Is that what he had to do? Like, was that what people were expecting him to do for him to be like the new staple within the community? He already got HBCUs a new TV licensing deal. College game day actually went to a HBCU the first time that's ever happened ever. He got Jackson State a brand deal with Under Armour. Got them new practice facilities because I remember a time when it used to rain, they couldn't have practice, right? If it's thundering or whatever the case may be. So now it isn't the case anymore. You got a new field house. Um, the economy, he's brought $30+ million worth of influx into the Jackson, Mississippi area. So it's like, what more do you want him to do? And who else has brought that type of change in a short window of time, or even a larger window of time? People been in the swag for 20, 25 years, haven't did nearly a fourth of that. Still working in the same facility that they had when they came in 15 years prior to the gig or the engagement. So, um, all those words, I'm proud of Prime for setting the torch because unfortunately the structure and the heights that we want to reach as a Black community. I get when people will, oh, he can build us up to the notoriety of a PWI. Not true. The way it's structured and the way recruits are set and the way resources are divvied and given out when grants are given to institutions, HBCUs notoriously and traditionally have always gotten the shorter end of the stick. So you have to, in order to break the barrier, in order to break the mold and to come back and build the mold up even greater, you got to go outside of the mold and you got to be able to conquer in those spaces that we aren't currently occupying at the time. Once you get the golden treasure and you figure out the formula there, then you can come back and begin to possibly, change the trajectory of where HBCUs can go, just as far as talent wise and resource wise when it comes to money, students, and just the overall, elevation of the program. But you know, shout out to Prime, man. They ain't gonna like you when you elevate. They just don't. People, I've seen so many memes on Twitter. People looking for that 15 seconds of fame, ready to talk down on him when he's done nothing but turn it all the way 180 and put it on a whole new path. But sadly, that's what we do as a people. We hold each other back.
Yeah, man. So me being a graduate of HBCU, shout out to Wiley College, proud HBCU graduate. Me personally, when back in during that pandemic time when Dion was announced the head coach of Jackson State, everybody was happy. It was hip hip hooray. I personally knew that Dion was going to be at Jackson State for a good time, not a long time. Did I know how long that was going to be? No, not necessarily, but I knew I didn't anticipate him being there for no 10 plus years, right? I take it back a little bit to that George Floyd period in time, and it's like during that time and all the protests, I feel like a lot of individuals became indirectly like these leaders for certain Black groups. And so I think that situation stirring up, and then people obviously emotions are everywhere during that time, and people are trying to fight for representation, so to speak, or equality, or whatever the case may be. um People looked at Dion to be like, okay, we got you to cover to be our representative for like Black college sports or whatever the case is, right? And so people are excited because all right, these HBCU athletes who don't get no attention, especially on the national stage, Dion is going to be able to bring us that attention, right? And I think the reason a lot of people are mad and upset I don't. It appears that it's rooted in. Oh, we mad at Dion because he left, but I think people are more so mad that they know with Dion leaving, the spotlight that was on HBCU football and HBCU as a whole is going to slowly dim out, right? So it appeared at face value, right, that ESPN was covering Jackson State football. It appeared at face value ESPN was covering HBCU football. But my personal opinion is that people are mad because they start they're gonna they have to face the reality that was ESPN really covering HBCU football, or were they really just covering Deion Sanders while he was here? And so I think that there's a I think I think that there's a unsettling of people who feel like Dion is left, and when he leaves,
He's
or
taking the
people
spotlight with him.
he's taking the spotlight with him. So are we gonna still, get that national stage? Yeah, you had your TV licensing deal, but are they gonna put us on ESPN two, or are they gonna put us on the ESPN three app?
ESPNU.
You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying, right? So it's just like you gotta like truly like look at it. I don't think
But
people
but you weren't on either before, so it's a win.
right, you got like right, it's like you gotta count it out. Do you just count it out joy considering before, like you say, before he even got there, it was Nathaniel? So and also too, the conversation is to be had, right? Yo, like, okay, like what was there to be done to like leverage like the attention long term past Dion being there? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. People, I think most of the people in the HBCU community, they're more so hurt and feel some type of way about Dion leaving. Not necessarily it being rooted at Dion but because they believe that now that he's gone, that attention on like those HBCU athletes are gonna go with Dion, and so that is something I'm going to extensively pay attention to as time progresses to be like, all right, ESPN, y'all gonna cover them boys this weekend? You know what I'm saying? Do y'all care to cover the SWAC again this year since Dion out there? And people as a HBCU community, like you gotta make sure just because Dion isn't there, like don't go silent on there. Like make sure ESPN, whoever the networks are, make sure you hold them accountable to like make good on their promise to like continue to give y'all like that national coverage. So yeah, that's my overall take on it. However, on the flip side of the coin, right? So you have Deion Sanders. He said, "Yo, I'm bringing some of my players with me," and for a long time, well, you go back to just like the origin of integration with the sports and like the reason you have the disparity of HBCU athletics compared to PWI athletics, when it's just like when the PWIs notice that like, damn, these HBCU games is like live at 5 and these players are like prime for the league. Like, let's go across the water and get some of them to play for us. And unfortunately, PWIs, have more resources. So HBCU players, the black athletes, superstars tend to, start to eventually like fade away from like the HBCUs being the first option. But you got Deion Sanders. He's taking some of these HBCU players to Power Five, right? Sometimes these HBCU teams get to play Power Five schools, but it's not always the most competitive game, right? The HBCU teams are just going out to whatever Power Five school, Alabama, Clemson, whomever, just to get beat, take a check, and make money for the school, right? That's normally how the situation goes with those tune-up games, as you will, in the beginning of the season. But for Dion to be able to take some of these HBCU players to a Power Five school at Colorado and then try to build a foundation of a program, it is my hope that with Dion having this opportunity, it could change people's perspective on the type of talent that is in the HBCU circuit. So y'all fellas that was at Jackson State and y'all get to go with Dion to Colorado and y'all get to play against the Alabamas and the Clemsons and the Ohio's and the Michigans and the Big 12, like put on for the HBCU from where you come, just to let people know, like, all right, like we can go looking at HBCU players to, either draft them in the league more often or go look at them and get them opportunities in the Power Five. But I know that's not what we want because we want to build up our own HBCU football programs. But yeah, man. So Shador Sanders, I know you balled out of control at the HBCU level. Like, don't come to the Power Five and struggle because they're looking to be like, oh, he did that at HBCU. That don't count. Like, just as you shredded the league in the HBCU, I hope that you could also do that at the Power Five level, man, because I think it'll give people a different perspective and make them pay more attention to give more respect to HBCU athletes. So if you come out there dominant, and not just you, again, other players who are coming from Jackson State. And I want to make this quick note too. Again, we just touched on why people mad, why we think people mad. We got to be careful with that too as a HBCU community, because like, what type of message is that sent to like the next potential high profile coach that wants to come there? If y'all slandering them through the mud, like, why would somebody want to come and try to build or continue what Dion has already built if we looking at how y'all gonna treat a person on their way out? So that's just something to think about. I think Dion should be like more appreciated.
But
And go ahead.
but that's just it. Somebody else won't be treated like Dion because they're not Dion, but it's Dion got treated like that because you had the notoriety, you had the fame, you had the name prior to, right? And people, Bomani Jones, when he was on CNN this morning, he tried to make the point that um, he was like, "Hey, Deion Sanders wasn't looking to go and be an assistant coach at a Power Five school initially, right off the back. He was looking for a head coaching opportunity, and who else, who better to give him that start, right, than his alma mater, which he come from, is Jackson State. They would give him the outright chance to, with no, real collegiate coaching experience or NFL coaching experience, obviously. Who's going to give me that opportunity right out the gate? HBCU, right? And so people think he leveraged that to, okay, well, that's how you were able to, step into your coaching or your first head coaching position so quickly because, one of the connections but it's like, I hear him make that argument, but it's like, not to play the race card, but and then what white people do, you leverage your relationships and you network with people and you use those to your advantage. Like that's how people get jobs in the real world. It's not what you know, it's who you
Who
know.
you know? Yeah, nah,
And
man.
and
Yeah, I had one more point off what you just said. I don't want to stay on it too much longer. What was I gonna say about Dion? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't meant for me to say. But yeah, but no, man. That's that. Time will tell. Definitely looking forward to see who's gonna be the next head coach at Jackson State for the football program. And yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, kind of echoing what you just said, Isaac. But it's just like, people do that all the time. And again, with Dion having the notoriety, if it wasn't Dion, would they have cared that ex coach would have left? You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
no,
yeah, man.
we got to
So
be real with ourselves. We
so
got to be
yeah,
real with
like
ourselves.
that's life. Like, we all trying to, elevate. And so right, you was talking about the press conference. That's what it was. And and God told me to come here, so on and so forth, blase, blase. Like, there is a such thing as there is a such thing called winning the press conference, right? Deion Sanders, prime time himself. You know what I'm saying? Been in the media since we don't know how long, since before we was born, right? Multiple football, NFL and MLB, like, helicopters on the plane just to play both games and whatnot. Like, this is prime time. So people trying to make it seem as if though he's like broken oath that he gave in like the press conference in the beginning of back in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just called winning a press conference. Of course, Dion is, I'm not gonna say he gonna say whatever to sound nice, as if he didn't mean what he was saying, but like, it's the press conference, yo. Like, of course, in the beginning, you assume that great things are gonna last forever, but that's not the case, man. Moving on, moving on, moving on, moving on. All right, so
Not one, not two, not three, not four.
you feel me, bro? You feel me? So yeah, man. Dash just isn't on, and I also kind of feel like this is a bit of his fight. But I put this text in a group chat the other day, and I'm a gamer at heart, though I haven't played a game console in probably maybe 2 years. But I sometimes like get my fix off just like watching, gaming gameplays like on YouTube or what have you. Um, but yeah, bro, I was looking at the gameplay on 2K, and I've been paying attention to the gameplay on Madden, and I just really feel as if though well, before I say how I feel, here's a question. You on an island by yourself, maybe you got somebody with you. You can only play one game for the rest of your life while you on this island by yourself. However, let's say the island got Wi-Fi. And yes, I know you could download multiple games, but let's say you can only download one, 2K and or Madden, but you can play remotely through Wi-Fi with whomever else in the world. 2K or Madden for the rest of your life on the island by yourself. What y'all picking? As not as the history, but as 2K is presently constructed today, and as Madden is presently constructed today, canceling out their past history.
That's not fair.
I don't. I say this. I don't really have.
That's not fair.
I don't know if I have a dog in that race anymore because I say this. I stopped buying game systems when I was in high school, man. So when I got to college, the only game systems I played is like if some of my homies had them and we playing for money or whatever. And, it's like riding a bike. You don't forget. I
But
get
that's
back
what
on
I'm
that
saying. A gamer at
and
heart
I'm
is what
lit.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm back lit. But um, honestly, man, because I grew up on Madden first, I would just have to say Madden. Just being true to myself and my primal self and me at heart, me as a kid, right? Grew up on Madden first, got slowly integrated into 2K. Really didn't, and this truth be told, I really didn't start getting into 2K until I got to college.
Mm.
If I'm being really truthful, played it before, wasn't really a fan. I was always an NBA Live guy, so when they discontinued Live, the last crappy live that came out was like Live 09 when Tony Parker was on the
Parker,
cover.
yeah.
I was just like, I had to stop buying it then. But man, hey, gotta go with man. Rest in peace, John, man.
True indeed. D, you got the Xbox One. You play more than any of us. What would you go with? As presently constructed.
Definitely was a big Xbox One guy
Bro, I
as
ain't gonna lie
well.
to you, bro. Like, not even funny, bro. Like, to be honest with you, not even because we've had these discussions before. Neither one, bro. I'm tired of copy and paste, bro. And it's been going on for way too long from both
Oh
of
yeah,
them.
all 2K
Like,
do
I'm
is just
over
change
it.
the
Like,
shot
I can
meter.
honestly, I can say 2K, but I don't believe in my heart and confidence and being like, man, hell yeah, that much more. Like, bro, honestly, Monday, Tuesday, 2K, Thursday, Friday, Madden, because they both at a point of like, bro, like I've been playing the exact same game for too long, and I'm just getting different hurt people in it. Like it's turning it because people say it was a scam. At one point, it wasn't because things would get dramatically better. Now it's at just a ceiling of just like repetitiveness and just like you better off just doing it like Fortnite and just pay yearly like $30. Instead, they rather make you pay $70, and it's just like, bruh, like I ain't even buy neither one this year, and I'm not even ashamed. Like, bro, it ain't even about me spending it. It's just about bro, I'm buying the same shit, different like what 30 new people. I'm over it. So I honestly can say one or the other, bro, but I'm over both of them. I don't even play with either one of them as much as I do as I used to.
I
So I'm
share
gonna
that
take a
sentiment
stand for the
too.
people on this and say
I
neither
share
one.
that sentiment too. But for the sake of him
I'm,
asking the
I'm,
question, I answered it. But if I really was
but
just being honest with myself, yeah, I would probably I played a PS5 starter game when you first turn on the system with the little PS5 monkey robot. with the touch active controller. That's actually pretty fun. But hey, that's just me.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
As presently
Yeah, I'm
constructed,
at that point where I don't even play them no more.
yeah, no. If I were to feel like, oh man, I really want to get me a system or whatever, because I too, Isaac, I think my last system was college. My last console, and I was a PlayStation guy. Um, but yeah, as presently constructed from like what I've been watching and like the handful of times I've played, um, and played, I would take Madden, bro, and it hurts me because I feel like I was introduced to Madden first, but just naturally, having a love for basketball, I knee jerk reaction just gonna gravitate towards 2K. And my first introduction to 2K was with Kobe on the cover, which I think was 10. Then they backdoor with the Legends edition with Jordan. Um, and so looking at the gameplay now and how it is like to my belief horrifically like falling from grace, and it's just like, bro, like how could y'all have all the technology in the world at this point and like still be putting out this like lackluster product just from like the game flow on 2K, just like the realism of it. It's just like disheartening, bro. Like it's just disheartening. And then I look at the gameplay on Madden, copy and paste, fair, but it's just like there's a realism to it of just like it's not an eyesore when you're playing, right? You can get into a group and be like, shit, I'm playing Madden, it is what it is. But 2K is just like an eyesore at this point, bro. When you just like look at the gameplay and the smoothness of it, that's just disheartening, very disheartening. And as a gamer at heart, I am, but to not always like, have a console, be trying to play every day, or every August, October, like I'm trying to get the new Madden to get the new 2K. I'm just like, dang, it's like this, it's like it's this bad for y'all out here now. Like, oh yeah, man, but
No,
yeah,
I see what you're saying though. It depends. I'll tell you this for sure though. No, I see what you're saying. You're seeing it on like it depends on what you're looking at it on nowadays, and both are constructed differently. And it seems like Madden's are all purpose. No matter what you play it on, it's gonna be smooth. I've noticed on 2K, you gotta be on high resolution, this, that, and third, in order to get that actual quality feel. But you're saying this and that, and I'm like, I'm wondering,
that's
like,
very
damn, is
true.
that
If
bad?
you
And I'm
if you
just like,
play
bruh,
2K on a
I
lower
played on.
resolution screen, and if you play it on a lower resolution system, the actual newer updates and the newly extended
won't
graphics,
correlate to how it's
it
intended.
will not. The gameplay will completely change. It
Exactly.
has to be on the most up to date software and equipment in order for you to get the most bang for your buck for the experience.
And I'm speaking from that place though, high resolution, up to date, and it's just like, bro, I remember when I used to sit in the house, play 2K, and my daddy would walk by and be like, damn, I didn't know the Lakers was playing today. I'm like, that is controlling my I'm on the game.
See,
Like I don't even see that anymore, bro. I don't. Like it's like they try to make it look so real, it looks fake. Like it's just
no,
and
bro,
and
I'm telling
and I
you.
and I, I'm
I'm
watching
telling
the
you. I
I'm
know what
watching
you're
the
seeing. I know what you're seeing.
I'm watching the gameplay, right? And I swear, like I'm watching the gameplay, and it took like fourth quarter before I saw anybody grab an offensive rebound. I was just like, "What type of game are we playing? What is like? What? Granted, a game, yes, but it's yeah, man, yeah, it's falling from grace for me, bro. I take as presently constructed, high resolution,
Well,
everything up to date. I take Madden, bro.
well, yes, I look at it too. If you're talking about offensive rebounds, you got to think about how meticulous basketball can be. Basketball can be like we've seen it in prize picks. Like a person can get boards all day, and sometimes they get none at all. It's all about you construct your offense. We're used to like that. Oh man, offense is already set up. Woo, do, do, woo, and it's gonna play in your favor. That's so crucial. People don't I've noticed a lot of people. I've seen streamers when they play, they literally go straight to their setting. We don't touch no settings. We just get a grab and play and go.
That's cap.
That's the difference. Like I'm telling you, like
Settings.
it's
I'm
crazy.
impressed with settings. That's not true.
Yeah, nah, man.
Bro, I've seen it. It's something to where like we grew up off of that
You
stuff, bro.
speaking
Just
for
picking
you.
up and going.
Even back in the
Adjusting it
grip.
to
We're going to the settings,
Yeah.
bro.
Yes.
But
Your
deep
lineman
settings.
will not be running the
And
same
that's what I'm
speed as
saying.
my receiver. I refuse. Nah,
Right.
man.
Not
But
that
yeah,
kind of settings, bro. I'm talking about actual coaching settings, brother. Coaching.
nah, I feel you, bro. I feel you, man. But
All
nah,
that.
beautiful people. Get in the comments. Let us know. Hey, man, if you can only play one for the rest of your life, private secluded island, you taking 2K, you taking Madden. Which one, man? Which one? Talking about 2K, crossing over to basketball, bruh. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis almost did it again tonight, but Prize Picks saved him. But before we get to how Prize Picks saved him, AD been on a ridiculous high streak. The last 10 games, AD is averaging I lost the notes. Averaging 34-15 with 2 blocks. Again, last 10 games, AD is averaging 34 points, 15 rebounds, and nearly 3 blocks. I know that 55 is like alluring to be like, oh, it was his career high, but no, it wasn't AD's career high. Though his career high was in 2016 when he dropped 59 points and had 20 rebounds against the Pistons. Here against the Lakers, his second highest scoring game of his career was the 55 points that he scored against the Wizards, and in that game he had 55 points, 17 rebounds with 3 blocks, making that his fifth 50 career point game. And the Lakers have been 8-2 along AD's stretch. We said at the beginning of this season, the Lakers' success, it has nothing to do with LeBron. It has everything to do with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, these past 10 games have been balling out of control. Everybody decided to, well, before we get to that, first and foremost, shout out to our brother, Sedacious. He's in the building with us. Shineheart is, well, we've been talking. Sedacious, you on. Dacious, Anthony Davis, you're a Lakers fan. You Lakers Nation. How have you been feeling about Anthony Davis's performance these last 10 games?
I'm gonna just go ahead and be honest and keep it fresh and give the podcast some fresh content. And I'm gonna just say, I have not been watching basketball tournaments. I have been working my hind parts off.
John Brown hind parts.
Yeah, I have 3 beautiful girls, and I want Christmas to be special for them. So I've been going the hardest. The fourth quarter was already the fourth quarter, but now it's the last month before we go into the new year. And
you're in a 2-minute warning, basically.
Thank you, Elvis. Thank you so much for always having my back. 2-minute warning drill, and I've been on
no timeouts.
I haven't been able to put money into certain investments like Prize Picks, and I just been, I haven't been able to study anything because I just been head down, just working like 6-7 days a week.
Nah, ain't no shame in that, man. The Bible would say, "Get your money, man." But nah, man. Laker Nation, Shanghai Izzo, what have you taken away from this 10-game stretch of Anthony Davis and the Lakers being 8-2 in the last 10 games? Also, with that, the Lakers they lost tonight, but before tonight, they were 10-12, putting them at the 13th seed, which is only 5 games back from the number 1 spot, and that's like 3.5 games back from the 7th seed, that play-in margin. But what have you taken away from AD's performance this 10-game stretch, bro?
Anthony Davis, when healthy, is a top 5 player in the world. Everybody knows that isn't shocking or breaking news. We just haven't seen it in a while, and I think that's just the most refreshing part, to where it's like it wows you again. Like, wow. And like,
okay, he can do it.
Like it's like, man, like when that guy is at his best, arguably there's not a better player in the league than that guy. because he's so dominant on both sides of the basketball, like on offense and defense. Can anchor your defense, switch 1 through 5, and then also, a complete offensive game. Can take you off the dribble, can go mid post, can go from the elbow, can go low post, can turn over both shoulders, can finish with both hands, um, mid range game, and can shoot the three. Um, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. It's just refreshing to see him be able to be this consistent. Although he had the flu tonight, which is a bit fluky, you knew you wasn't feeling
He needs
good.
to go
You
down
could
for
have said,
the most horriblest flu game ever.
but I digress off of that. But I've been impressed, right? I've been encouraged. And Russell Westbrook keep up his stellar play. He's driving his trade value through the roof. I'm still on that bandwagon. Love you, Russell. Respect you as a player, future Hall of Famer,
You
arguably
think he
most
out of there?
athletic point guard in Houston. Excuse me. Arguably the most athletic point guard in history. I would, but not maliciously. I don't do it with malice in my heart. Trading him, right? Like we need shooting, bro. The Lakers are like bottom 5 team when it comes to shooting. They just don't have any, and that's what we need. If Miles Turner and Buddy Hield is still on the table, me personally, I do the deal. But hey, they don't pay me to be the GM, but they did just pay Rob Pelinka, and he hasn't done a good job post extension. So I'm waiting on him to rectify and right some of these wrongs.
Yeah, now D, do you have any interesting do you have an interesting take on AD or the Lakers thus far?
Take that man at all costs is what the Lakers can count on.
Take them at all
That's
costs.
pretty much it. That's all I got.
Hey, I want to say this. As a Laker fan, I am excited about the fact that he is playing pretty good, and so LeBron doesn't have to take so much of a workload,
Because
and then we could possibly win
add
one
on.
again. Because I mean, him and LeBron is right, like Shaq and Kobe and some stuff, Pippen and Jordan type, right?
I give you Pippen and Jordan.
Karl Malone and Stockton.
But what's even crazier is I know this wasn't on the rundown, but while we on the subject of the Lakers, Draymond Green was on an uninterrupted podcast with JTA, who is Juan Toscano Anderson, formerly guard slash forward for the Golden State Warriors, now guard slash forward for the Los Angeles Lakers. You can hear Draymond Green speaking candidly about who he thought was the greatest basketball player of all time, and he said LeBron James' name was his number one, and he gave a very wholehearted and very well-rounded answer to why he believed that. And a part of me believes that in him bigging up LeBron, it makes his championships, it makes their championships look 10 times much better if you can say, hey, I beat the best player ever 3 times. And you know what I mean? But anyway, he gave LeBron his flowers for the many reasons why. If you do run across anybody who does see LeBron as the best player ever, right? They speak to his well-rounded game. How he really doesn't have a hole in his game. He can do anything on the basketball court at the highest of levels, and at his peak, he was dragging people like you and me to the finals. They just didn't have any business being there, quite honestly, right? And I think if you stack that up between the competition of who Michael Jordan played back in the grip, and then you accompany that with LeBron James, who he's played out of the totality of his career, I don't think the competition matches up, to be quite honest. Draymond Green made the point of, hey, Jordan did run up against the greatest team ever assembled 3 times in a row, but one could argue the greatest team ever with the 72-10 Bulls were the greatest team ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, man. Nah. Brown is definitely him. Uh. I forget. I don't know if this was the same interview or Draymond. I don't remember who it was, but they was speaking of today, and it was like, "Who's the best player in the league?" And the person was just like, "LeBron." Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? It's still LeBron. Yeah, man. So
Still,
going over to the NFL, going over to the NFL. I don't stay in Houston no more, so like I don't always get that much news feed from like the Houston sports area, like in terms of like on television. But Deshaun Watson finally made his return back to the NFL after not playing for 2 years, leaving the Texans, being traded to the Browns. The NFL knew what they were doing, big time ratings. Hey, Deshaun finally coming back. How many games are we going to suspend him? Is it going to be six? Is it going to be eight? How about we make it 11, which is a very odd number, but you do have 17 games in this season. We will make sure when he does come back, it will be major headlines, and when he comes back, he will make his NFL debut as a Cleveland Brown in Houston against the Texans. The Browns did beat the Texans in the opener, or should we say the Browns defense beat the Texans. Deshaun Watson coming back after 2 years, 131 passing yards, 0 touchdowns through one interception, rushed for 21 yards and had a 28.5 QBR rating. Obviously, we don't expect Deshaun to stay playing like that, and one can say that his stat line is to be expected after not playing for 2 years. You got to have respect for the game. You haven't played in a while. You got to get back acclimated to just that game speed. No matter how many practicing you do, you can't necessarily simulate game speed in practice. Um, what did y'all see or not see? Obviously, it's not like he had a big game, so it's not like you'd be like he torched the Texans. But is there anything to take away from this game as it relates to Deshaun Watson and the going up against the Texans and kind of, I guess you could say, finally closing that chapter?
I
I
don't
feel like
have
he took
much
a
to
subtle
say about
approach.
it, man.
I feel like he's been in the spotlight enough. I feel like he's been in the spotlight enough as far as this whole Texans and him disagreeing for just 3 years. And I think he didn't want to make major headlines with putting up basic major numbers, running and long passes. He just did his job enough to where we got the dub. We are playing the worst team in the NFL. We had one of the best running games out. Brissett still hot just in case if I'm feeling any kind of way. He didn't want no more spotlight between that organization anymore.
I
I
don't
thought
know
he could
how
have
hot.
torched him. Yes, it's been 2 years, but I thought he could have done something more razzle dazzle. Like he could have just a little bit more.
I don't know how hot 4-7 is, but Jacoby Brissett definitely was serviceable. I don't know if he kept the ship afloat because, like I said, 4-7 isn't exactly afloat. It is
Yeah,
very much so
sinking,
below 500.
Titanic-y.
It's a bit Titanic-y. You it was a game off from 3-8, but um, man, it just is what it is at this point. I just I said it once, I said it twice. I just find it so ironic that all of this comes out after he requests a trade because nobody possibly saw that coming, right? You let go arguably the greatest player in franchise history in J.J. Watt. Then you let the second best receiver in Texas history in DeAndre Hopkins go. It's like, dude, what are we doing? This isn't team building. This is team demolition. Get me out of here. I know what's coming. And I know y'all just paid me 4 years, $160 million extension, the first one. And I still want to bounce. And that's what it is. And they said, oh, really? You gonna just take our money and bounce and slap us in the face like that? Cool. You like getting massages, right? I digress. So I just find it ironic, but I just think even having the victims come to the game, like very uncharted territory. It just when
If
you're
they have
real, you don't typically want to see your perpetrator or person who assaulted you. You don't want to have anything to do with them. So what's the point of coming to the game? So y'all can enjoy it because you low key a fan. I don't know, man. It's just a lot of eerie things and questionable activities that have gone on because nothing criminal has been found. So all of it is just a money grab now. All of this stuff is civil. None of it is criminal. He's been acquitted by a Texas jury already. So it's like, what are we doing? We just want a piece of the pie to 230. And quite frankly, it probably ain't even 230 no more. It's probably somewhere along the lines of
220.
225. Maybe. Yeah, something like that. Maybe.
Man. The Browns, they beat the Texans in that game 27-14. The Browns improved to 5-7. They are third in the AFC North, behind the Ravens and the Bengals. I think one would all would expect Sean to improve. And for me, was seeing him play, and at the time it was just like, hey, if it appears that the Browns have something to possibly play for, and Jacoby Brissett was able to keep the ship afloat, maybe you possibly, let Jacoby rock out with the rhythm and the chemistry, or possibly be like, thank you. All right, Deshaun, you get in here. But looking at him play against the Texans, I was just like, yeah, I'd rather you knock off the rust in these last 6 or 7 games than to like really go a full 3-year stint, trying to wasting away half the season trying to like get back acclimated. So if you're a Browns fan, I think you'd rather Deshaun Watson knock off the rust here now as opposed to the beginning of the next season. But yeah, man. Still staying on quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield released from the Carolina Panthers, picked up by the Rams, who are without their quarterback and Matthew Stafford. The Rams probably not going to be doing much in their thing anyhow this season. What are they? Yeah, they 3-9. I guess if you need Baker, go get him. Whatever, sure, why not? But Darnell, as you said, you're lost at this point. You had inquiries as a Texans fan on picking up possibly Baker Mayfield. What was your thinking process behind that for all of those who just heard that and was like, what the hell is his problem?
Shoot, man, like I just want some kind of hope, for the now. I'm just tired of losing. Like it's a bit selfish, but it's some kind of excitement. It is a big name. It's better than Mr. Mills we have, and the backup that we have, at least far as popularity. It's also for that hope of possibly a new start for next year, if anything. But just like I said, it's more of like a hurt soul just speaking his mind rather than thinking logically. To be honest with you, because even when I said it, I was just like, well, he's available. Want to get him? Because I mean, what we got right now, yeah, we are in line for a draft pick, but I'm just looking as far as like good decision making, as in like loading up, or just like can we make some right steps? Because we was making so many bad steps. I just want to see something of like we want to win, we want to do some kind of positivity, but just right now it's just looking like I don't know. Like we do have a good rookie running back, but players get unhappy in Houston, and I don't want that to keep happening. I just want something positive to happen instead of just draft picks. Like that's fine, but God dog, like what was the last good Texan move that happened?
We drafted Deshaun.
Can't name one.
I mean, Derek
and that's a draft.
Stingley Jr.
Like actual
maybe.
move.
Derek Stingley Jr. may be a good pick.
No, that's a draft though.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's the last
No, but
greatest
we're good at
move.
drafting. That's fine. But I'm
we
saying,
not we're not the premier
oh no,
football market
drafting
where
we've always
free
been
agents
typically good,
want
questionable
to.
but good.
Just never been a premier
That's what I'm
market
saying
to
though. At
to
one
where
point we
players
were,
want
but
to
I was
come.
just saying like,
We were never considered that
Yeah.
city.
We
You
were
know what I'm
like
saying?
we were developing through the draft like we the Warriors.
We the freshest franchise in the league. We still baby, technically.
Yeah.
We just came into existence. We just been in existence for 20 years. The Texans.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, but Baker Mayfield, I don't think he's needed in Houston. Do y'all
Garbage.
think yeah.
Chad out. Chad out.
Oh man, speaking of still talking about landing spots. What game was that recently? I think it was they was at the Mavs game, but OBJ, where's OBJ gonna land, or is he gonna land anywhere this season? I know on the table you got the Cowboys, possibly the Bills. Talks about the Giants and maybe in terms of like returning back to the Rams, but why would he do that considering their situation for this season? Already got his Super Bowl ring. I guess he kind of just looking for like that retirement money. That stability money long term after he's had a handful of surgeries. Where do y'all anticipate OBJ land? Do y'all anticipate him landing somewhere this season, or do y'all feel like he may not come back this year and may try to deal with negotiations and find a team to start fresh with in training camp for next year?
I think Baker Mayfield got saved by the Harris Chinny Chin Chin, and had it not been for the Rams, which was the only team that was willing to claim him on waivers, he'd be out the league. You looking at another Johnny Manziel who don't have as much running or athleticism or ability physically as Manziel does. Obviously, a way more accurate thrower of the football, but Baker Mayfield as of this year has had the worst QBR in the league, worst yards per throw in the league. He's just been abysmal. Hopefully, Sean McVay can shape him up to make him look like a middle of the pack quarterback. Um, but I don't know how much Sean McVay will be able to doctor his in a good or serviceable quarterback. So, you know, you trade out, you trade. Oh,
I don't think OBJ would be a good quarterback, but I think he'd be good in the Big D in Dallas because Dallas is built for these kind of situations, for controversial receivers and controversial situations. And if for some reason they think it works out for them. So I think OBJ is definitely going to go to Dallas, in my opinion. I'm not a Dallas fan, but of course, the him going to the Mavs game kind of does poke out to me, and I feel like he's not too far from Louisiana, so it's a home away from home, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, right? You think he's gonna go to Dallas? Obviously, CD's, the premier one, wide receiver one for them. Do should anybody read into the fact that it was only Stephon Diggs, Michael Parsons, I forget who else it was.
Trayvon Diggs.
I said Trayvon Diggs, Michael Parsons. I forget who the other Cowboy guy that was with them at the Mavs game. But is there anything to be taken into consideration that it wasn't like Dak in the mix or it wasn't CD Lamb in the mix? Which they probably could have met outside of whatever. We just only saw them at the game together. Is there anything to be read into that or none at all? In terms of recruiting Odell.
I think you got the captain of the defense, Michael Parsons, second-year player. Then you got arguably one of the best DBs, best young DBs in the league, and Trayvon Diggs. So you have enough star power there to say, hey, he got our stamp of approval. Zeke and Odell have always been tight for years. you ask Dak would he love Odell Beckham Jr. on his team, I think it'd be a resounding hell yeah.
Let me get a hell yeah.
I don't think Zeke and Dak being absent in that rendezvous to the game is to make of anything. I think it was, hey, I'm in the city tonight. We going to the game, like you know what I'm saying. Like I don't think it was like, man, call Dak, see if Zeke and them can roll. I think it was like, oh, it's just us right now. Let's us three. Let's just roll. I think it's much to do about nothing.
Right on, right on. Beautiful people. That's what you call a great episode. Thank you kindly for tuning in. We do not take y'all listening for granted. Make sure you follow at Emax Stats, at Shine Hard Izzo, at Black Peace, at I Am Sedacious. Also, make sure you follow Talkin Smoke Podcast. Yeah, man. Y'all know the deal, man. We will see you beautiful people next week.